today's video we're going to talk about weapons and how they affect your build in Elden Ring Nightreign, because while it is true that your character levels up mathematically, you can still take advantage of a properly built character so that you take on those very difficult bosses. And that's going to be the difference between you actually defeating a night boss or not. So the first thing that we need to have in mind is that every single one of these characters has a predilection on a specific type of weapon. And that is going to be in base build. But not only that, like there's a whole bunch of weapons that you might think that it's a good idea for that character to have that weapon, but it's not in reality. So what we really want to do as soon as we can is go to Visual Codex, because this is going to give you the stats that character is going to have as they level up. So as you can see, the Wilder is a quality build character because he scales the damage output with strength and dexterity, A and B. That is why it's more useful for him to be using great swords, because great swords usually have that kind of scaling. And as you can see right here, it's going to have a preference that it's going to give you immediately how is it that that character is going to scale best. Because you can, by all means, receive a legendary armament, but it's probably not going to be that good in your hands as it is in others. But also one thing that you need to have in mind is that while it does have a preference, and the preference is always going to be showcased in here, it does not mean that you cannot use certain specific weapons as well that are going to mostly be beneficial for you. Now this is something that I've seen many a times. This is what you need to really have in mind, because more often than not you're going to see a weapon that you're going to be dealing more damage with it. It's going to appear green as if you were going to be dealing more damage, but in reality you're not. Let me elaborate on that. So for example, these weapons right here, the Prelate's Inferno Crusher and the Rotten Great Axe, they scale with S on strength. They do not have any other scaling. They only scale with S on strength. Even then, because of how the weapon is designed, you will see that it will still deal more damage than the regular basic weapons that I am using. But that does not have into account the DPS, and that does not have into account something very important, that this is something that the game does not tell you. The character has a combo built specifically with the animations for that specific character. So when you go actually into the codex right here, and you actually take a look at the characters and the preference, whenever they have a weapon, they are going to have a specific combo, very good combo for that specific weapon, and that is going to contribute to the overall DPS of that character. On that remark, usually the final end of a combo, it's not precise, but it's going to give you an idea of how much DPS are you actually dealing. So for example, if I were to complete a combo with my right here, it was 800 damage. Whereas if I were to be trying to complete a combo with a weapon that it's supposedly going to be dealing more damage, that's the end of the combo right there. That's a new combo. So it's less than 300 damage, because you have to take into account the DPS. So even while these weapons deal more damage, they are not dealing more DPS than my preferable weapons. And that does not mean that the preferable weapons should always be the ones that the game suggests to you. You actually have to come as well into the codex right in here, because you can go into equipment, and whenever you're browsing through equipment, you will see that there's a whole bunch of weapons that are very beneficial for your class. Because even with the Wilder that benefits from having great swords, if you manage to get an ornamental straight sword which is going to have strength and B scaling, this is perfect for your class, because you're a quality class. You scale with strength and B on dexterity, so this is going to be very much the same thing. There's also specific cases, like for example the Swords of Night and Flame. This is always going to be a universal weapon, any single class Nightreign can use this weapon because it's a quality scaling weapon that has lots, and I mean lots, a huge amount of DPS for every single character. Just to give you another quick example, you're playing the Executor and you find a Moonveil. This is probably something that you should give to the Duchess. Yes, the Duchess prefers the daggers, but this is a weapon that is going to scale with dexterity and intelligence. That's the scaling that the Duchess has. The Duchess has high dexterity and high intelligence. Granted, the intelligence scaling, it's not really that amazing in here, but overall, as the Duchess levels up, this is going to be much more deadlier on a Duchess's hands. And if you're playing an Executor and you manage to get a Rivers of Blood, the Executor has S scaling on dexterity and S scaling on arcane. And as you can see, the Rivers of Blood scales out of dexterity and out of arcane. So if you're playing Executor and you have to make a decision and a concession on whether should you be using the Moonveil, because you're going to have lots and high chances of you getting a Moonveil. I've noticed that usually you have like 70% chance of getting your preference weapon, and then sometimes you get other weapons. If you actually get the Moonveil, you have a Duchess on your party, then you probably should have communication with your crew and give this Moonveil to the Duchess, because this scaling is not going to be as good as this one is for you right here. Or for example, even the Dragon Scale Blade, because the Dragon Scale Blade, it does not have native bleeding, but it has it can have like really nice skills, Ashes of War. It's going to have much better scaling than Moonveil is going to have. The same goes for the Meteoric Orb Blade. This is something that you probably should be giving to the Duchess, and that's essentially how you should be going on things. Like I said, there's many times that I have seen Wilders running with very great weapons because they feel that they are going to be dealing lots of damage. I've seen lots of Wilders using the Prelate's Inferno Crusheers and the Rotten Great Axes. Yes, these are very good weapons. This does inflict rot status ailment, and it does very fast. But this is going to be much deadlier on a Raider. And as a matter of fact, just to wrap up the video, let me showcase you real fast. We have this weapon right in here, and if we use the weapon like this, it's going to be a 3-hit combo that is not going to be that amazing. However, if we use the same weapon with a Raider, so we have it right in here with the Raider, and you will see that he swings faster and the animation actually is longer, so that you can have longer combos with these guys, because this is a weapon that should be better used on a Raider. And as a matter of fact, just on 3-hit combos that we have right in here, we're still dealing much more damage than the Wilder, because the Raider has S scaling and strength. He doesn't have scaling and dexterity, he doesn't have dexterity and anything else, and this is a weapon that has S scaling and strength. So yes, this is a game that very much conveys that communication is of the essence. Whenever you're playing with your friends and you get a good weapon for your character, you can drop these weapons for different characters, and you should be doing so, because sometimes you might be getting very good weapons that you might say, hey, I'm dealing more damage with this. You're not necessarily dealing like more damage when it comes to DPS and actual effectiveness of the weapon. Probably that weapon that you think that is going to be good for you is going to be better on someone else's hands. So that's something that you need to be managing as well. If you like the content, so like and never super appreciated. Not only today, you're gorgeous and beautiful person. You're in the gorgeous and beautiful person. Subscribe to the channel. You're on Discord. Have a beautiful day. Goodbye.